Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Wednesday the 5th of July. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. Despite an increase in gang violence in certain areas, Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson has reported a reduction in major crimes during the first half of the year. Between January 1 and June 30 of this year, 655 murders were recorded. That is 94 fewer than the 749 murders recorded for the first 6 months of 2022. 370 illegal guns have been seized, while 565 people were arrested and charged under the new Firearms Act. Comparing the statistics for the same period last year, murders are down by 13%, shootings decreased by 12%, rapes are down by 24%, robberies recorded a 23% decline, while break-ins decreased by 12%. Gang conflicts accounted for the highest proportion of murders at 67%, followed by interpersonal conflicts at 20%. Crimes in the furtherance of other criminal acts at 5%, and 8% that are still under investigation. The police have confirmed the seizure of 156 rounds of assorted ammunition, over 25 lead sheets, and a cellular phone during an operation in Bogill, St. James on Tuesday. The raid was part of an intelligence-driven operation in the area between 3:30 and 7 a.m., the police say. No one was arrested for the seizure. The St. Andrew South police listed 12 persons of interest who were asked to report to the Hunts Bay Police by 4 p.m. on Tuesday. They are Fabian Burke, otherwise called Shane or Bussett, Gregory Henderson, otherwise called Harry, Ryan Ankle, otherwise called Dean, Fabian Murphy, otherwise called Baby Chow, Andrew Hoffman, otherwise called Little Man or Red Man, Shaquille Slater, Theodore Warshoop, otherwise called Chang or Zidane, a man known only as Mahale or Razor, a man known only as Frostman, a man known only as Evil, a man known only as Bashi, and a man known only as Robin or Rin. Meanwhile, detectives assigned to the St. Catherine South Police Division have listed 5 men who they say top the wanted list for several crimes committed across the parish. 3 of the men are wanted for murder. They are Marky Mitchell, otherwise called Puddy, Justin McGregor, otherwise called AK Man, and Wayne Mitchell. The other men are Ryan Bryce, otherwise called Chucky, who is wanted for robbery with aggravation, kidnapping, burglary, assault occasioning bodily harm, malicious destruction of property, and assault at common law, and Christopher Barrett, otherwise called Chickenback, who is wanted for shooting with intent. The men are being urged to turn themselves into the Portmore Police by Thursday, the 6th of July. Elroy Griffiths, previously Portland's most wanted man, has been sentenced to 18 years in prison at hard labor for the murder of his common-law wife, Maureen Johnson, in 2019. Griffiths, known as Greg, went into hiding after slashing Johnson's throat, stabbing her in the stomach, and setting their house in Buff Bay, Portland, on fire. Johnson's burnt body was discovered on the veranda. In January of 2022, Griffiths was apprehended during a joint police-military operation, and he admitted to the murder and arson in a caution statement. On June 21st this year, Griffiths pleaded guilty to the murder charge in the Portland Circuit Court and was sentenced to 18 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 12 years. No evidence was presented regarding the arson charge. A St. James farmer was on Monday fatally shot in the community of Rosemount. He has been identified as a 48-year-old Sonny Buchanan, otherwise called Sonny Boy, of Gardenia Crescent. Reports by the Mount Salem police are that about 5:30 p.m., Buchanan was playing with a group of children along a roadway when he was approached by 2 men armed with handguns. The men opened fire, hitting him multiple times before escaping on foot in the area. Buchanan was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey says the Jamaica Constabulary Force is concerned about the increasing numbers of mob killings across the island. DCP Bailey said while it is understandable that citizens are frustrated when they lose their animals or property, they should refrain from taking the law into their own hands. He warned that innocent people have been victims of mob attacks. There was an incident some years ago in St. Catherine where a taxi driver actually drove into a lane and he was actually mobbed because it was viewed by the public that he was involved in cattle stealing. A tire was placed around his neck and he was burned to death, the senior cop recounted. 3 mob killings have been recorded in recent days. In the latest incident, 2 men accused of being animal thieves were chopped to death in St. Anne on Monday. Relatives of Donovan McLean, a murdered ex-policeman, are claiming that he was defenseless when he was shot because his licensed firearm had been taken away from him the previous year. McLean, who was 33 years old, was gambling at a car wash in Caymanas Gardens, Portmore, when a car pulled up and 3 armed men opened fire, killing him and injuring another man. McLean's family believes if he had his firearm, he would have had a chance to fight back. They stated that McLean had been cleared of an alleged incident where guns were fired at a party and he was working with lawyers to have his firearm returned. The family expressed frustration with the police for keeping his weapon for nearly a year without contacting him or providing an explanation. The Montego Hills Police in St. James are investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of a man in Glen, Devon on Tuesday morning. The deceased has been identified as 23-year-old Nicoy Dove, otherwise called Coy, a laborer of Bottom Pen in Glen, Devon. It is reported that shortly after midnight, residents heard gunshots in the area and called the police. Cops conducted a search of the community and discovered Dove lying in blood with multiple gunshot wounds. The scene was processed and Dove was transported to the Cornwall Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says investigators are still searching for the killers of 80-year-old Daniel Rowe.
The recent murder of Daniel Rowe, that tragedy, on June 8th has highlighted the issue of the safety of our children. Let me assure you that this case is a high priority for us as we continue the investigations. We still believe the perpetrator was known to Daniel and once again ask the public for their assistance in identifying the person. This year, in the 4 instances where children 12 and under were killed, the perpetrators were known to the victims and in positions of trust. Let me just say that providing this fact is by no means intended to diminish the significance of each tragic loss, because no child should be murdered. However, in spite of these tragedies, from our perspective, as a society, we generally still protect our children.
General Anderson also advised parents to monitor their children during the summer holidays to ensure that they do not party excessively and consume illegal drugs.
And also, in keeping with the theme of protecting our children, we're now in that summer period. A number of our children will be out of school, as a matter of fact, the majority of them, and under reduced supervision as parents go out to work. It is important that parents and guardians know what their children are doing at home, both on and offline, and also what happens when they attend parties and other social events. We are seeing a growing trend involving the sale and use of recreational drugs, such as Molly or ecstasy at these events. We urge parents to discourage the use of these drugs whilst we address the criminal aspects of this matter.
2 teenage girls, along with a male friend, are facing charges related to the alleged abduction and sexual assault of another girl in the corporate area in June of last year. The allegations include the videotaping of the victim performing oral sex on a male friend of the teens. The accused individuals, aged between 16 and 17, have been charged with abduction of a child, production, distribution, and possession of child pornography, as well as aiding and abetting in grievous sexual assault. The age of the victim was not disclosed. The progress of the case has been delayed due to the report from the Communication Forensic and the Cybercrime Division not being available. The court expressed disappointment with the incomplete case file and the delay in obtaining the forensic analysis of the phone involved. The teens had their bail extended and are scheduled to return to court on November 13th for mention. They have not yet entered a plea in the case. Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson emphasized the need for new legislation to combat the misuse of technology and hold individuals accountable for creating deceptive content. He expressed concern about misleading videos being circulated where incidents from other countries are edited to appear as if they occurred in Jamaica. He also highlighted the presentation of outdated videos as current events in the country. These malicious activities contribute to fear and uncertainty among people in Jamaica and abroad. Anderson stressed the importance of a legislative response to address emerging issues in the digital environment, such as deepfakes, artificial intelligence, and social media misuse. The proposed law aims to introduce offenses ranging from digital public misuse to more serious violations. He urged the public to act responsibly online. Additionally, the Commissioner encouraged individuals to file formal police reports through appropriate channels, even though social media can be used to reach out to the police. Filing official reports is crucial for the proper resolution of crimes by law enforcement. The wife of American missionary Harold Nichols became emotional while testifying in court about the moment she was informed of her husband's death. Harold Nichols and his colleague Randy Hensel were found dead in St. Mary in 2016. Andre Thomas is currently on trial for the murders. Terry Nichols Hines, Harold's wife, recounted how she sent someone else to identify her husband's body, as she could not bear to see him in that state. She described their work as missionaries, providing humanitarian and health aid to underserved communities. On April 30 of 2016, Nichols and Hensel went to check on a woman they were assisting, but they never returned. Dwight Henry, charged alongside Andre Thomas, accepted a plea deal earlier this year, while Thomas maintains his innocence. In business, retired government workers are set to get improved health care benefits as part of their pension payments. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark made the announcement in the House of Representatives on Tuesday afternoon. Under the current public sector pension scheme, the government contributes 80% while workers take care of the other 20%. Almost 30,000 government workers are benefiting from the scheme. In sports, Guatemala will be Jamaica's Gold Cup quarterfinal opponent. The pairings for the last 8 was confirmed following the final set of group games. Guatemala came from 2-1 down to beat Guadeloupe 3-2 to finish top of Group D. Canada bagged the second quarterfinal spot from the group after beating Cuba 4-2. The other quarterfinal ties will see Canada facing the United States, Mexico against Costa Rica, and Panama versus Qatar. And on the entertainment scene, Chris Martin's 2010 collaboration with German reggae artist Gentleman has been certified gold in Germany. The single, To the Top, recorded at Big Yard Studio, was a hit in Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. The gold certification commemorates more than 200,000 sales, both physical and streaming. And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening, and see you next time.